broadcasting directly into Iran, fomenting rebellion against the Islamic government. In fact, many of the protesters have been called to the streets by a balding rock star, a Persian actor who can't get a role, and a one-eyed talk show host who speaks in Farsi, all of whom work, as we first reported last fall, at a TV station called NiTv. And if the Bush administration hasn't realized its potential as a weapon, the Ayatollahs certainly have.
Okay, stand by.
3, tape is rolling, 2, 1.
It's showtime at NiTv, and for millions of Iranians with satellite dishes, another 24 hours of sorely needed news and entertainment. And for the mullahs of Iran, another 24 hours of torment. It's a farce in Farsi. Ali Din is the man behind the beard, and he believes NiTv is fighting the Islamic regime with a devastating weapon. Humor.
A laughter, a comedy. I believe it's a great bomb.
And to think NiTv is the brainchild of a former rock star who was once known as the Tom Jones of Iran, before the Ayatollahs heard enough and forced him to flee to America. 20 years and one toupee later, Zia Atabai took some money from his wife's plastic surgery business and bought a former porn studio in North Hollywood. From there, he launched National Iranian Television.
We are NiTv.
That sounds like Iran's official TV network.
Check 1, 2.
It's not.
First time in Iranian history, I want to prove how important it is you have an independent television.
Iran is half a world away, but the talent NiTv needed was just around the corner. Los Angeles is home to 600,000 Iranians. Zia had no problem finding TV personalities who were stars in Iran before the mullahs chased them out as well. The Dan Rather of Iran was in L.A. So was a Persian Larry King. There were a host of hosts available for a Good Morning Iran show.
What's up, man? What's up?
Even if one of them was missing an eye. Rafi Khachaturian lost his left eye in L.A. when some guys from Hezbollah attacked him a few years ago on Wilshire Boulevard.
As long as I have my mouth and my tongue and my big mouth, I'm gonna do against Islamic Republic.
Initially, Zia thought of NiTv as a business venture. His audience would be Iranians living in North America. Broadcasting into Iran hadn't even occurred to him, and his aim wasn't to make politics, it was to make money. NiTv was to be a world of culture.
We're saying we are not politics. We are more for the people and knowledge and news.
That all changed 1 week after NiTv went on air because of an accident that happened in, of all places, Miami. That's where NiTv's satellite uplink was located. From here, the broadcast from Los Angeles was beamed to the U.S. and Canada. Then one day, an engineer hit the wrong switch. NiTv and Iran would never be the same. The Iranian Larry King, Ali Reza Maybadi, was on NiTv that day taking live calls.
Somebody called and says, sir, I see you, and I'm happy to see you. I'm calling from Isfahan.
Isfahan, Iran's second largest city. Maybadi didn't believe him. NiTv couldn't reach Iran, or so he thought.
Nobody doesn't believe.
Yeah.
Where? What? Come on, don't joking.
And Maybadi was pushing me that, tell me the truth. We are on satellite for Iran. I said, no.
Startled, Maybadi picked up an apple and asked the caller what he saw on his screen.
And he said, apple. And he had a pen. He said, what is this? And he said, pen.
Zia made some phone calls and learned the incredible news. The engineer's mistake had put NiTv into Iran. What was the reaction like here in the studio?
Everybody in the studio, all of us, we were crying. It was unbelievable. We feel after 20 years, we feel we are back at home. We feel that they kicked us out, They took our passport, but we came back.
It took only 6 hours for most of Iran to learn about NiTv. Thousands of faxes and phone calls began pouring in.
Lines was just blinking. We didn't have time to answer. And fax machine was out of paper every hour.
What were people saying in the faxes?
They say, thanks you, thanks to God. And some people even thought maybe it is revolution.
Satellite dishes were already popular in Iran, but with the birth of NiTv, they began sprouting like mushrooms. Iranians wanted their NiTv, and the mullahs could hardly offer an alternative. Dr. Ali Mohammadi studies Iranian media from London. How does NiTv compare to Iranian state television?
Oh, there is no comparison. The Iranian television, unfortunately, it's belonged to a different century.
Iranians sold valuable carpets and, in one case, a kidney to raise funds for a dish. And it wasn't just what they could see and hear, it's what they could say.
Hello.
Jana.
For the first time, they had a forum where they could air their grievances. And that's what they did, until they were silenced. And then the Iranian government started jamming you.
Start jam us one time. After 3 days, we changed it to another satellite. They jam us again. Pissed me off. It pissed me off.
Helicopters took to the skies of Tehran to look for satellite dishes. On the ground, dishes were confiscated by Revolutionary Guards. Viewers were treated to jail sentences and floggings.
They think that they can blindfold everybody, 70 million Iranian.
Zia shelled out more money for a more powerful uplink in New Jersey the Iranians couldn't jam. But that wasn't all. He made a programming decision. Forget about the world of culture. Prime time would now be devoted to politics. Zia hired an Iranian comedian, if there is such a thing, who'd been surviving in Hollywood by playing terrorists. But Ali Dean had a talent for impersonating ayatollahs. And thanks to technology, NiTv and Ali Dean took on the mullahs in a language they understood.
They hate me because they don't like nobody personate them. To them, they are untouchable. To me, there is no untouchable.
Dean had no trouble finding material to play a character he calls Mullah Haji. It was all there. All he had to do was study videotapes of the sermons given by the real ayatollahs back in Iran.
You just crack. It's all nonsense. He said, I saw a girl who was 14 years old. She was riding bicycle. You know how bad it is? Bicycle. This is worse than eating pizza.
Hard to make fun of it because it's so funny.
It is funny already.
Yeah.
It's nonsense.
Hello, salam, khidmat Haj Agha.
4 nights a week, Dean's Mullah Haji takes live calls from Iranian viewers and dispenses guidance like any Ayatollah would.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, salam Haj Agha.
Alaikum assalam.
This caller from Tehran says Iranians have been crying for 23 years and asks, how much longer must we cry? Another 50 years, bellows Mullah Haji. Crying is good for you. It's the kind of comedy that makes you cry while you're laughing. How much do people in Iran just want to smile again?
They're dying to smile. They're dying to dance. Look, Iranian government, when see Iranian happy, they cannot take it.
And the mullahs really couldn't take what NiTv did on September 11th. Hours after the attacks, Zia took to the air with a message for Iranian youths.
So I asked the people front of the camera, I said to young people, to show your feeling and share your feeling with American people. Come to the Mohseni Square in Tehran and bring your candle.
They brought their candles and their voices, shouting, "Death to terrorists." 6,000 demonstrators called to the streets of Tehran by Zia Atabai in North Hollywood. It was the only show of support for America in the Islamic world. This week, Iranians were protesting again, summoned to the streets by NiTv. Zia Atabai was flexing his muscle again. But he may be bankrupting himself at the same time. That jam-free satellite is expensive. Zia says that without outside help, he'll have to close down. Major sponsors seem unwilling to incur the wrath of Tehran, and commercials for basmati rice will take NiTv only so far.
How much longer can you stay on the air if you don't get money or sponsors?
If one of my check bounces, I'm done.
How close are you to your check starting to bounce?
Very close. Very close.
His talent knows how close.
I don't get no pay.
What do you mean you don't
It's
get
funny.
paid? It doesn't
My
sound
life is
funny to
in
me.
I am that kind of comedian whose life is in danger, and I don't make money. Isn't that funny?
To you it seems to be funny, which is why you're a comedian and I'm not.
One would have thought that NiTv's success in Iran would make the Bush administration shiver with delight. But has Washington responded to NiTv's request for help? Not at all. No funding, no grants, nothing.
For each bomb you're throwing out is $1 million. Why you don't help something that is more powerful than bomb now in Iran?
The stress is getting to Zia.
It's a hard time for all of us.
A year and a half ago, he suffered a heart attack. Ali Dean had one too. It doesn't help that there's a price on their heads from Iranian agents.
They call to Zia, hey, be careful, hey, we're gonna kill you. Sometimes they call on the air. Yeah.
Despite the threats, the heart attacks, and the mounting bills, Zia is on the air telling the mullahs that they're headed for the dustbin of history, and that NiTv will help put them there.
Why are you risking it all for NiTv?
You have to be in my heart, my soul, to find out what I don't have. I don't have a right to go and see my father's grave.
Your father's grave.
They took the bones. I don't know what they did with it. These people of God. This was my country. And who take over? The liars? Somebody on behalf of God? Killing hundreds, best children that we have? Yes, you're right. I could live peacefully and die.
It's not enough?
No. No. Even, Bob, even if tomorrow I close NiTv, even tomorrow I have a second heart attack and I die, I did what I had to do.
Since our story was first broadcast last fall, viewers have helped keep NiTv afloat with private donations. Enough, we are happy to report, so that Ali Dean can now get paid. But funds from Washington, not a penny.
In the mail this
Studenternes talsmænd ville ikke risikere et blodbad, efter at de iranske myndigheder havde forbudt alle markeringer af dagen. Efter mødet trængte civilklædte politifolk ind i rummet og førte studenternes talsmænd væk til et endnu ukendt sted. Store politistyrker var i går udkommanderet omkring universitetet og FN-bygningen i Teheran. Det samme var islamiske studerende, som er loyale over for det konservative præstestyre, og som ofte går til kamp mod de moderate studerende, som det blandt andet skete sidst, der var studenterdemonstrationer i Teheran for en måned siden. På trods af myndighedernes forbud og anholdelsen af de 3 studenterledere tidligere på dagen, myldrede 10.000 af iranere ud i Teherans gader i aftes i biler og dyttede deres sympati med de demonstrerende. De moderate studerende i Iran er frustrerede over, at de løfter om politiske reformer, som præsident Khatami har givet siden han blev valgt i 1997, stadig lader vente på sig. Den 9. juli er årsdagen for de voldsomme uroligheder i og omkring Teherans universitet, hvor mindst 1 studenterleder blev dræbt og 20 såret i 1999. Dengang anholdte myndighederne omkring 120 studenteraktivister, hvoraf mange fortsat sidder fængslet.
Selvom Tysklands